The personal side of agriculture's next generation. That's what we're talking about in this very special edition of XtremeAg's Cutting the Curve with XtremeAg.
Welcome to Extreme Ag's Cutting the Curve podcast, where real farmers share real insights and real results to help you improve your farming operation. This episode is brought to you by TEVA Corp, providing farmers with the most technologically advanced products and innovative ideas to meet their quest for higher yields, top quality, and maximum profit. Visit tevacorporation.com. And now, here's your host, Damian Mason.
Hey there, welcome to another special edition of XtremeAg, if you will, edition of XtremeAg's Cutting the Curve. Why am I calling it that? Because this is the next generation of the XtremeAg people. I've got Vern, Garrett, I've got Layne Miles, I've got Alexander Evans, and I've got Jackson Henderson, joined by Caleb Coots with TEVA. TEVAAg is the website, TEVAAg.com. TEVA is a company that makes fertility products that help you grow better crops and farm better. And the Coots family said, you know what, we want to sponsor this very special run. We did it in 2024. We did 4 episodes. We're doing 4 episodes in 2025 also. It's a lot of fun to hear from the next generation. You hear from these guys when we're at their farms, when we do videos. But you know what, it's a little bit more intimate when we can just do it this way, long form in a podcast. So anyway, we're doing this, and I'll just go ahead and be honest. They didn't like the topic I proposed. Actually, they said, your topic sucks, Damian. We don't want to do that. And I said, all right, we're going to talk about it. You want to talk about this now? You want to talk about the economics? And Caleb said, I don't know, man. Have a tight economics out there. Let's talk about how we're coping with it. Let's talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff. We know we can talk about the gloomy side of agriculture all day long, or we can talk about maybe the fun side. I said, all right, Jackson, you want to talk about what you do in your days off? He said, oh, yeah. He'd rather talk about that than ag anyhow. All right, give it to me. You go fast.
Well, any free time we get, we try to go racing. We travel a series. We go around, I guess, the southern states. We just got back from Michigan last week. We drag race. We run radial tire stuff. Dad runs about 195 in 3.8 seconds. I run 160 in 4.4. It's the one thing that we get to do, outside of the farm that's family related. And off of that note, I've been married for 2 years. I'm expecting my first kid here in 7 weeks. So, but that's just a little about me.
Congratulations, by the way. And then explain for the person that says, okay, I think I saw something about this on XtremeAg, all the different kinds of racing, drag racing. There's the ones that the parachutes fly out the back. There's the funny cars and all that. Your old man's car is a 1985 Buick Grand National. At least that's what it looks like to me. Talk about that.
They're both of us have a 1987 Buick Grand National.
I was off by 2 years. Let's not go around here casting stones. All right.
You gotta learn your facts now. Learn your facts. But there's different types of racing. We're building another car, and then I have a car that I race local in index stuff. But it's all just based on weight combinations and the tire you run. The cars we run are on radials, and we run from October to May. We run during the winter. So this is actually our winter break during the summer, oddly enough. But we do that, and then we switch over to the new car we're building, where it's a big tire car. It's be a Hemi motor on it with a supercharger on it, and it'll run 3.6 seconds, 210 mile an hour when we're done, and we'll race it on probably during the East Coast during the summer or whenever we're not farming. But we do what we can. Farming comes first. Farming pays for the race cars, so we try to keep our priorities straight and then have a little fun on the side.
By the way, I'm not the car guy that you are, but you said it's got a Hemi. If you drop that Hemi in anything other than a Mopar product, there's going to be lightning will strike. Tell me, you putting this in a Charger? What are you putting this in?
Well, that Hemi's already in that Buick.
I didn't realize that. You know what? We're cross-pollinating manufacturers from engines to car bodies. I'm not a fan. All right. All right. The personal side. By the way, you got a kid in 7 weeks. Vern just had a kid. Does it change your perspective, Vern? Is your perspective different now that you're a papa? You just had your first Father's Day with a 2-week-old kid.
Yeah, my son was born on May 28th, and it's kind of an eye-opening experience and been quite the change. I don't feel like I have a lot of free time right now, I guess. But no, it's been great. We're very thankful.
You said it's been great, and I said, did it change your perspective? Does it change?
It definitely changes your perspective, right? It's like, I don't know, all the things you're worried about and thinking about beforehand and all you want to go do, now you don't really care about that as much. That you care about this kid so much more, and that's what you want to put your time into, maybe.
You said in another recording about how technology and AI is going to relieve you of some of your duties and you can get back to the stuff you really love. And you were implying that it was like planting crops and farming. And I was thinking of the things that I've seen that Vern really loves: drinking beer and bullshitting with people in Dow City, wisecracking Damian in Dow City. I was just thinking of the things you really love. And to be honest, the farming was like fourth behind the other stuff I've seen that it appears that you love to do.
I do enjoy those things. Those were pretty good times to be had. But I got other hobbies too. Farming outside, and I feel like the cow work we do is kind of a hobby. It doesn't feel like work. We basically handle that just with the family rather than the employees because it's so time and labor intensive. And a lot of weekends we end up working cattle or moving cattle or doing something that's really kind of a family experience for us.
Caleb, the personal side of working in the business of agriculture. By the way, I'm just going to throw it out there since you're the non-farmer. I think these farm people do a little too much of patting themselves on the back and these social media memes. Like I just saw another one the other day. A surveyor asked 100 farmers what they do in their spare time, and 98 of them said, "What's spare time?" And the other 2 said, "What day is it?" "Oh, all we do is work, million-hour weeks." Bullshit. Everybody has a personal side, and farmers pat themselves on the back too much about how they just don't have anything to do, but they just work million-hour weeks and all that. If you care about your business, you work in it. But you know what? At some point, you got to pull back and have another side of your life also, because otherwise it's very empty.
Well, no, we're very fortunately we're in that same boat of patting ourselves on the back. We like to talk about the amount of hours we put in over here.
1,000-hour week? Did you do 1,000 hours this week? 1,000 hours this week?
Yeah, sure. 1,000 hours.
Don't know what day it is. Don't have any spare time.
I have no reference of time. Is it Tuesday? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. But we're especially now we're big outdoors people. My family, my parents were, my wife is. So we're big hikers. My daughter is 2.5, and she's already. I mean, it is hot and muggy here in the boot heel this week, and she hates that she can't be outside that long. We're all already outdoor people. So Dad and I, before the kiddo was here, we were big into falconry. So we do a lot of that. I've done a lot of hunting throughout my life, but
for the person that doesn't realize what falconry is, you better explain it.
Yeah, so Dad and I are both licensed at the state and federal level. We can own hawks and falcons, and we use them to hunt. So, I've done a lot of rabbit hunting, and I've never once shot a rabbit. The bird does all the work, and I promise you, if you get the chance to go with us, you won't pick up a gun again. You'll be asking how to get your license. It's a lot of fun.
By the way, you actually clean the rabbits, or you just let the hawk eat them?
We let the hawk eat them. You pull them off the rabbit. They're wild animals. This is not, there's all these people out here like, oh, isn't it cruel? Isn't it, he starts to think he's a person. No, at no point. This is not some pet situation. It's a unspoken contract of I'm only near you because you provide food easy for me. So they take this rabbit and they'll start eating it alive. Yeah. So you go put the poor thing out of its misery, and then we'll save it for the rest of the week. And that's 5-6 days worth of food for a red-tailed hawk to eat on a rabbit like that.
I'm glad, Alexander, that you're more of the pacifist type, and you would never want to shoot a harmless animal. Oh, wait a minute.
No, we don't.
You're sitting in front of an entire wall of duck decoys.
Yeah, we don't do any of that. But no, so there's 5 of us all together, 5 kids, and, it's me and my little brother, and of course Dad are on the farm now. So we try to center everything, whether it's rainy days or whatever, but center it around, family, whether it's riding 4-wheelers or playing in the yard or going out to dinner and stuff like that. And honestly, it's going to see you all too. When Dad goes and he sees all your all's field days, it's better for me because it gets him off the farm to relax, if that makes any sense. It gets him off the farm, away from the farm, doesn't have to worry about it. Me and little T have it, and that's probably the best thing for us is that, getting him stress free and not having to worry about it. But yeah, and then so in the wintertime, that's what we'll do just about all winter. We'll run cows and run feeders and all that stuff, and then we'll go hunting too.
Laner, I got to be honest. You do a good job of managing personal, professional. Your old man even commented you a while back. He said, Layne does a really good job of saying, I'm getting out of the tractor. I know we got a lot to do, but I'm going to go see the kids' baseball game. It's important to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been the guy that you've got to have your work life, but if all you do your entire life is work, then what do you got? So, I mean, personally, I have a lot of hobbies. I mean, if it turns out and rains in the middle of March and we've worked, those 1,000-hour days, I'm going to go home. Actually, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to go buy a whole bunch of food and I'm going to invite my whole family over and I'm going to cook this big old meal. And by the end of the meal, I have probably worked myself down till I really won't even eat it. But everybody else eats it, enjoys it, and I get a lot out of that. So I enjoy cooking. We're big sports people. So, I mean, if it's a game on, we're cooking, we're watching the game. If we can be outside playing baseball with the boys or at the golf course hitting a golf ball, I mean, basically, if there's anything to do outside, that's what we're doing. And then in the wintertime, all we do is hunt. I mean, we duck hunt, we deer hunt. But I got a bunch of hobbies.
Are you better? I'll go with Jackson again. Are you better at managing at an earlier age? Are you better? It's one thing when people get old and they decide they're going to make a time for the grandkids. Are you better at an earlier age than your old man about managing the work from the personal?
Oh no, I'm horrible at it because all I want to do is just, go play instead of work. And it took me a while to realize like, hey, the farming's first, the farming comes before everything else. You still got to have your time to do your family stuff, but it's definitely is something you have to grow into and evolve and, become responsible enough to say, put your foot down and say, this comes first, let's take care of business and then the rewards after.
Caleb, are you better at it than Mark?
No. My dad did a really good job. I mean, I remember him being gone during the busy season when I was in school, but he was always there for the big stuff. He made sure that he was I mean, even through college, I don't think he ever missed a swim meet. He was at every one of them that he could be at. He always made me, feel like he was there and in my, having my side. And he has done a really good job as I've become a husband, as I've become a father of, hey, this is a one-person job. I don't have, I've got your mom at home, but she's used to this. You need to go home. You need to see your wife. You need to see your kids, because you guys get it. You don't want to leave dad working. You want to be there. You want to put in your hours. You want to work just as hard as he is. But my dad has done a really good job of helping me manage that, because I get eat up. It's this 5 months, this 6 months worth of work, and I can play with my family, in the off season. But he's like, no, you need to be there all the time. So he's really helped me learn that balance.
Alexander, I got to be honest with you. Temple stayed here in August last year and was up at 2 a.m. because he can't sleep because he says he's got stuff on his mind, stuff to do. I think sometimes I'm kind of high strung. Then he weirds me out a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Like growing up, we definitely missed a lot of birthday parties and all that stuff. Like when we were busy season, we were working, and that's how it was. And I don't blame him for that because here, looking back now, it made us a better people because, we were so focused on work. And now we can kind of we understand what needs to get, be done so we can kind of take a step back on rainy days and stuff like that to go and do the fun stuff. But it always kind of like what Coots was saying is, I'm sitting here, I might be, whatever we're doing something fun. And I think of my grandfather, he's 85, still, getting up every day and working and doing this and that and this and that. And it, it takes a toll on you because, you think he's doing work. Why shouldn't I be doing work too? So that kind of, that's a thing that I fought, my whole childhood too, is I need to be doing something because I know my grandfather would be doing something right now,
Right. By the way, Vern, my thing about farmers carrying on over the top, and I think that very few people in ag will admit this. It's overdone about feeding the world, and we work all the time, and thank a farmer, and all that kind of stuff. But I think if you run a business, the whole thing about work-life balance, that's cute to say. And if I had a government job, I'd get up from my cubicle at 4 and leave, and it'd be just fine. But if I, hang on a second. All right, so it's interesting to me that farmers think that. Are you able to hear that?
Nope.
Okay, there's some real big noise over there. All right, we're going. There you go, Will. All right, the point is, whether it's farmers or not, if you run your own business, it's difficult to do this work-life balance thing. It truly is, because you're committed to your business. I had a friend of mine that went from having a normal like government job to all of a sudden working for himself in a law practice. And he didn't show up for 2 hours late one night when he said he's going to be there. And I said, "It's all right." And he said, "Well, I don't know if you understand, but now that I'm working for myself, every hour is another hour returned to me." I said, "I've been self-employed since 1994. Of course I get it." It's tough. But the other reality is, like Layne said, you can work and work and work and work, and you're laying there at some point dying. You're like, "Boy, I sure worked my ass off." And I think that your generation's better than the older generation about understanding that, to be honest. Big compliment to to your generation versus the one of mine and above. Vern?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like around here things have changed so much. When my dad was my age, it was him and my grandpa calving 500 cows, and they weren't going anywhere all spring. And then they hit planting season, and they couldn't go anywhere. And now we've got a ton of employees. And what does that mean? Yeah, you can cut out here or there, but I mean, we're not going to send them into work when we're off goofing off on a very consistent basis, right? So Sunday when the cattle need fed, we're going to be here. And when there's an emergency and there's a plant food spill, we're going to be there, So it's a give and take that we've got to be here more often, consistently maybe, but we can cut out. And this will be the first year I didn't go to the College World Series for a game or two, newborn. But
there's a reality to the mental health aspect of this. I recorded an episode of The Granary about it. Farmers have 3.5 times the incidence of suicide as Main Street America, and that's certainly nothing to be proud of. I think this all is the same. I think this is all the same ball of wax. Caleb, what do you think? You deal with a lot of farmers. I think the mental health and the personal versus professional, work, life, family, farm, it's all part of the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it can't not be. I mean, when you spend every single minute of your day worrying about a job where, I mean, let's just be honest, we can manage, we can work as hard as we want, but at the end of the day, Mother Nature has a lot more to say about how, things are going to turn out at the end of the year than we do. And so that's a lot to be worried about. A lot of your job that you're just like, this rain, I pray the rain stops, or I pray the rain comes back. So how can it not, even if with the balance, it's stressful. You got to have the other side of it so that you're not just going crazy. You got to have a time where you can go back to your family and not have to worry about, to be able to put the weather app down and just sit with your 2-year-old and sing Moana for the 700th time.
That part would actually be more stressful than just working without sleep for a week. If I had to listen to children's Disney music, I think I'd rather just go and work.
I love it, man. I love every second of it. We avoid certain movies, but other than that, you pick the ones with the good music and you put them on a loop. And it doesn't matter that you're hearing it again because she's singing it again and she loves it. And hearing her sing is the greatest thing ever.
Jackson, you see what you have to look forward to, right? Disney movie music on repeat.
Listen, all these people give the parenting thing a bad rap. It's great. I love it. I love every second of it. I'm so excited for number 2 here in November. I probably won't be as excited once they're here and I realize that I've doubled my workload. But at 1, it's awesome.
Anybody else got anything on that? All right. Here's the thing. More than most industries, more than most professions, there's this thing, and this I think does contribute to the stress, and this thing about farmer equals identity. Identity equals farmer. Somebody that works as a janitor doesn't have this idea or the ideal from society imposed back onto them. Oh, well, you're a janitor. That means fill in the blanks, whatever it means. Go around the horn here. Vern, Is there something real about this, that the part of the stress of the personal life that farm people have is that they have this identity imposed onto them of what farmer means? And it means you're supposed to work all the time. You're supposed to, all this kind of thing.
Yeah, I could certainly see that. Yeah. My dad likes to say farming's not a job, it's a vocation. And you got to have some of that. You're putting yourself at risk. You're putting a lot of your time at risk, but you've also got to be able to detach from that and maybe be a little stoic about things you can't control. You can't control the weather. You just got to take what comes with it. And you got to try to find the balance. You got to have your hobbies, your personal time.
Layne, probably my favorite thing about the Miles brothers, really you and your dad, when I go down there, you don't have that farmer identity that tells you you have to wear dirty blue jeans every day, even if it's 104 degrees. I wear shorts, you wear shorts. I don't fall for the farmer identity means you have to wear bib overalls on a 104-degree day. I had somebody tell me once when I was out here working, they pulled in and said, I'm looking for a couple of Mason brothers. They're farmers. And I said, okay. And he said, well, you're not one of them. I said, I'm not. And he said, well, you don't look like a farmer. You're wearing shorts. I've always appreciated the fact that you wear shorts. Anyway, farmer identity.
Yeah, as far as like the farmer identity, I mean, yeah, I've never been the guy. If I had to wear a pair of pants out in the 100-degree weather, I think I'm retiring. But I mean, I'm gonna wear shorts. I'm gonna wear a long sleeve shirt and tennis shoes. That's just, and they're waterproof tennis shoes. They're tennis shoes. That's just how I am. But I mean, there is something to be said to have that farmer identity. You do have a little chip on your shoulder because you do work your rear off. I mean, it's one of those things that when you're working, and you want to say you work harder than the next person, but I'm not going to say that next person that has an insurance office. I mean, they're working just as hard as anybody. They're going to put the extra hours in. They're going to do whatever it takes. And then again, you got to have that balance. You got to have that balance of work and personal. I go to a baseball tournament that Luke's playing or Owen's playing, and you try to shut it off to the best you can. But being a farmer, your phone still rings. You're still going to check your weather app. You're still going to think about things that are going on at home, and while trying to still have that personal life. So there is a balance, but always and forever that the farm comes first.
All right, Alexander and Jackson. I was going to toss it to Jackson, but he always then says, go to Alexander first. So whichever one of you two wants to take it. Farmer identity. Do you have it? Are you going to grow into it? Also, I think the farmer identities create a lot of stress for a lot of these guys because they think there's a box they're supposed to fit into, usually very hotly, wearing long jeans when it's 100 degrees outside. That's a different story. Alexander, what do you got?
I don't know. I feel like I love it. I love people walking down the street that know you, like, oh yeah, that's Alexander. He's a farmer. He farms here, or whatever, does this and this and this and that. But and I like what Layne said too. Is we don't go unrecognized, but also it's hard. Like I think Jackson or somebody touched on it yesterday or the other day when we were recording. We don't get that appreciation as much around here. We'll be moving tractors down the road and people will be passing us, flicking us off, and this and that. So that's kind of like the hard side of it is, we're out here busting our tail and, the humidity and it's 100 degrees out today or whatever. And, people don't see that because they don't live that. So it's hard for them to understand, what we go through to put food on their table every day.
Do you have the pressure of the farmer identity being imposed upon you now at age 20? You're 27? I always forget. 27, right, Jackson? Jackson.
Yeah, about to be 27.
Farmer identity pressure? Is there pressure to be the farmer?
Well, I mean, I always think it's pressure, but it's like, like last week some of my buddies text me and say, hey, you want to go out and eat dinner with us? It's like, I can't. I'm going, it was at 8:00. I was like, I'm going to the field to plant some. They're like, well, I just wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, not everybody's built to be a farmer. There's only a certain percentage of us do. And I was like, well, this is what I chose to do. This is my livelihood. It's hard, a lot of the months, but it's also like, there's times and stuff when you're on it, you're like, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. It's like, I think farming is also like a really rewarding lifestyle, that you get to do, and especially doing it with family. A lot of us here, we all get to do it with family, and we're like blessed to do that. There's a lot of people that don't get that option.
So the person, this is the last round, the person that's your generation that is involved in a family business, because it tends to be in agriculture, lots of generational family business. You get a recommendation form, 1-sentence recommendation, 2-sentence recommendation. Caleb, what are you going to tell a person that says, you've been giving advice to Vern off air, by the way. I should tell the listener that. You've given advice about raising his kid now. You've given advice about plumbing in his house. So just go ahead and pretend that the whole audience is Vern and you want to give advice.
I have an approximate knowledge of many things. No, if I had one piece of advice for generational this whole episode is find a balance. But they're both important. Work hard, but realize at the end of the day that family's always going to come first.
Vern?
I want to use my sentence to get off a pet peeve of mine rather than give advice. When your buddies that don't farm, they always call you, oh, let's go out, drink some beer, let's go do something. And I was like, all right, I'm down. And then I call them later in the week, hey, let's go out, drink some beer, do something. And it's, no, I got to work tomorrow. Man, I'm feeding cattle every day. I'm going to be up early. Two-way street here. That's my.
By the way, you know what? I can appreciate that. And it's because for 31 years of being self-employed, they're like, well, yeah, you can jack around and watch football tonight because you don't have to work tomorrow. Like, I have to work every day. You realize that I haven't had a guaranteed paycheck for 31 years. I work every day. I don't. Well, yeah, but you can wake up a little early. Like, well, that could be true. Yes, there's some aspect to that, and maybe you should be able to figure that out for yourself. I appreciate that. You know what? Hey, Layne, either advice or pet peeve. Advice or pet peeve. I like the pet peeve just as well.
I would probably say advice. But Caleb hit the nail on the head. We can work, and do all this we want to, but you've got to find that perfect balance to know that family's first. Anything you do, you always want to feel like that farm is here, but everything you do here is for the people that are here. So, family's always first.
It's easy for Layne to be a little bit more relaxed also. I don't know if I want to put this in the recording or not, but now we're here. Basically, I've supported his kids' extracurricular activities. I can't pull into Southeast Arkansas without them cute little kids come up and asking me for money for their baseball, their school play. You know how much frozen cookie dough I've eaten in the last 20 years? 0 ounces. You know how much of it I bought off of his kids? Enough to feed every kid in Deshay County for a couple of weeks of cookies. Anyway, joking. Happy to support it. Jackson, you're the second to last. Alexander's going to wrap us up. Advice and or pet peeve. Pet peeves are fun.
I don't know. I would say advice is probably just stay humble, stay true to yourself and your practices, don't stray too far from the boat. And I don't really know if I have a pet peeve something like that really.
You need to hang around with me more. I have an endless list, but that's all right. You'll get there. Alexander, my friend.
Oh, let's see how we're going to close this out. I think definitely family comes first. And anybody that is farming or trying to get farming, and whether you do it with family, with your grandfather, or there's an older person in your operation that you work, sit by him and listen to his stories, especially if it's your grandfather. Sit there and listen to him and, learn the way that he did it. And just because you're going to miss him when he's gone, you need to, sit there with him and understand the ways that he worked the ground, and then you try to do the same and be the better person.
Gonna leave it right there. Caleb, you happy with this? You changed the topic and said, you know what, I think we should talk about the personal side of the next generation of agriculture.
I think it's great.
A little bit behind the scenes. So that's what we did. By the way, it's a special 4-part series we're doing, and TEVA Ag is our sponsor. You can go to TEVAAG.com if you want to learn more about them. That's our sponsor, proven fertility solutions for today's farmers. Caleb's a third generation, a Missouri-based company, and a partner here at XtremeAg. We appreciate their sponsorship of this special, bringing on the next generation of XtremeAg. That's Connor, Vern, Garrett, Layne Miles, Alexander Evans, Jackson Henderson, Caleb Coots, and me. If you enjoyed this, go check out all the other great recordings. We did a 4-part series in 2024 with XtremeAg, the next generation. Did a 4-part series in 2025. We also put out hundreds of videos just like this as learning, and also the podcast. And we have our new show, The Granary, which is shot here at my on-farm tavern. It's a lot of fun. You can see all that at XtremeAg.farm or at our YouTube channel. Till next time, thanks for being here. I'm Damian Mason with XtremeAg.
That's a wrap for this episode of Cutting the Curve. Make sure to check out XtremeAg.farm for more great content to help you squeeze more profit out of your farming operation.